The energy inside the View studio was electric the moment Michael B. Jordan walked on stage, dressed in a sharp charcoal suit that shimmered under the lights. The audience erupted with cheers. He was, after all, one of Hollywood's biggest stars, and his presence alone brought an unmistakable spark. Michael flashed that cool, composed smile he'd perfected on red carpets, greeting each host with warm hugs. Sunny Hostin leaned in with her trademark poised confidence, notebook ready, eyes sharp. The segment was supposed to be a light-hearted conversation about his latest film, his evolving career, and the discipline behind his action roles. But from the moment Michael settled into his seat, tapping his fingertips lightly on the table, there was an undercurrent, a subtle tension that not even the band's upbeat transition music could smooth out. He glanced at the cue cards in front of the panel and then exchanged a quick, curious look with the producers. Something had been changed, and he could already sense that this wasn't going to be the casual morning chat he had been promised. 2. The interview began normally enough, with Whoopi cracking a joke, Sarah complimenting Michael's directorial work, and Alyssa praising his impact on young actors. Michael responded with easy charm, flashing that charismatic grin that made the audience swoon. But Sunny Hostin sat with her legs crossed, pen poised, waiting for her moment. When she finally spoke, her tone was polite, almost too polite, as she shifted abruptly from movie talk to a personal topic Michael hadn't been prepared to address. "You know, Michael," Sunny began, "there have been discussions circulating online about your behavior on set." The audience reacted with a low rumble of confusion. Michael blinked, caught off guard. "My behavior," he repeated, his smile flattening slightly. Sunny nodded, tapping her notepad. "Some people say you've become difficult, intense to work with." The energy dropped instantly, like a sudden cold draft sweeping through the room. 3. Michael leaned back in his chair, eyebrows raised. "Difficult," he echoed, letting the word hang in the air. The other hosts shifted uncomfortably, clearly surprised by Sunny's sharp pivot. The producers off camera were frozen, unsure whether to signal a redirect or let the tension play out. Sunny pressed on, reading from a card. "Anonymous sources claim your expectations are too high, maybe even intimidating." Michael inhaled slowly, his jaw tightening just slightly. It was the kind of comment actors dreaded, vague, unverifiable, and thrown at them when they least expected it. The audience murmured again, sensing the shift. Sunny glanced up, watching him closely. Michael placed his hands together, elbows on the table, his composure still solid, but the warmth that had started the interview was gone. 4. He responded with a controlled smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Sunny," he said calmly, "I take my work seriously. That's not being difficult. That's being a professional." The audience applauded, but Sunny wasn't finished. "But some people feel pressured by you," she countered. Michael tilted his head, giving her a look that was firm but still respectful. "People feel pressured when standards are high," he said. "I treat every movie like it matters." The co-hosts attempted to intervene, suggesting they return to the movie discussion, but Sunny waved them off lightly, insisting, "It's a fair question." Michael exhaled, tapping the table with his fingers again, a sign his patience was thinning. 5. Sunny then pulled out another card. "There's also a rumor," she said, "that you've been clashing with cast members." The audience gasped. Michael blinked, stunned by the escalation. "Rumors," he repeated, disbelief coating his voice. "Since when does this show operate on rumors?" Sunny attempted to justify the inquiry, saying viewers wanted transparency. Michael laughed once, not amused, but incredulous. "I'm here to promote a film," he said. "Not defend myself against gossip blogs." The crowd applauded loudly at that, leaning into the tension like it was a live drama unfolding before them. 6. Sunny, now visibly committed to the confrontation, leaned forward. "Public figures face scrutiny," she said. "You know that." Michael shot back, "Scrutiny is one thing. Blind accusations are another." The audience roared. Sunny held her ground, though her tone sharpened. "Are you saying the people who work with you are lying?" she asked. That was the moment Michael's calm began to crack. He shook his head slowly and replied, "No, I'm saying you're asking questions you know aren't based on facts." His voice remained controlled but carried a blade-like edge. Sarah and Whoopi looked alarmed, sensing they were rapidly losing control of the interview. 7. Sunny, refusing to back down, said, "Then clear it up." Michael paused, staring at her, measuring his words. "I don't owe explanations for things that aren't true," he said firmly. The audience clapped again, some cheering him on. But the exchange had reached a boiling point. The warmth had evaporated, the laughter was gone. Michael's posture had shifted, shoulders squared, eyes sharper, tone colder. Sunny crossed her arms. "Well, Michael, some people think," she began, but he cut her off with a low, steady voice, "Then maybe they should come say it to me, not hide behind headlines." 8. For a moment, the studio fell into stunned silence. The air felt heavy, like the seconds before a storm breaks open. Whoopi silently gestured toward the producers, urging them to cut the segment early, but the crew was frozen in the chaos. Sunny attempted one final jab. "You seem defensive today," and that was it. Michael sat back, folded his arms, and said calmly, "You know what? I don't need this." The crowd gasped. Sunny's expression faltered for the first time, the confidence shifting into surprise. 9. Michael pushed his chair back with controlled force, the scraping sound echoing louder than any applause. He stood up, microphone still clipped to his jacket, and looked around the table. "I came here in good faith," he said. "If you wanted drama, you should have warned me." Sunny opened her mouth to respond, but Michael was already stepping away. The studio erupted with noise, some cheering him, others shocked into silence. The co-hosts called after him, but he didn't turn around. He walked off stage with the commanding presence of a man who had made up his mind, leaving the set in stunned stillness. 10. As he disappeared backstage, the cameras scrambled to cut to commercial. Sunny shuffled her cards, suddenly unable to maintain her earlier bravado. The co-hosts whispered frantically among themselves, trying to figure out what to say once the show returned. The audience murmured, phones already appearing as people typed out what they'd just witnessed. Within minutes, social media exploded with clips, opinions, and debates. Some defended Michael's composure. Others argued Sunny pushed too far. One thing was undeniable. The moment became one of the most shocking and talked about segments The View had ever produced, the day Michael B. Jordan walked in as a guest and walked out in a blaze of viral, unforgettable drama.